Hey, it's Chris, Liege Games. Let's talk FOMO, fear of missing out. The 5 types of FOMO, and what do you need to know about them? How do you avoid them? The 5 phases of a FOMO gamer, if you will. Because, let's face it, whether it's crowdfunding, GameFound, Kickstarter, retail, it's there regardless. It's just some of these types of FOMO are stronger in one area than the other. Which ones are you susceptible to? And, I've had people ask me in the comment section, hey, Chris, how did you get over FOMO? How would you deal with FOMO? Well, first, you have to know what FOMO you're dealing with. You have to know why you are feeling that way. And then, what do you do about it? Let's talk. So, first up, first FOMO. First. That's the biggest one, the one I'm the biggest fan of, but also I'm the biggest critic of. That is exclusives. Exclusives. Companies use exclusives to get you hooked, to get you in. We are not going to give this to you later. We are only going to give it in select supplies. We don't know if it's going to come. This is limited edition. This is exclusive, whatever you want to call it from that side of things. We've seen it. You know what I'm talking about. Whether it's the big ones, Simon, Awakened Realms, whatever it may be. It's the small ones, whether it's expansions, whether it's promos, whether it's just figures, alternative sculpts, whatever it may be. You've seen it. You know about it. It's across the board. The question is, as I've talked about in other places, how much of that extra stuff do you need? How many of the 370 different Arcadia Quest characters are you ever going to play with? So does it matter if you have one additional one in a box that already has 4 to begin with? Are you ever going to play with it? Who knows? Is it balanced amongst the other ones? How many of you are people that love balance in your games, that do not like the chaos and the having to house rule or do anything like that? Well, the problem with a lot of these exclusives is they aren't tested as well. They're add-ons. They're last-minute thoughts. Not last-minute thoughts, but they're not as well developed. They just aren't, because there's not as much time that goes into them as a lot of the other base core stuff that's not only been just spending more time in development in general since the beginning of the game oftentimes, but also that is probably going to hit a retail side of things. That is where a lot of these games really end up picking up some steam as well. So what do you do about exclusives? Like I said, how essential is it? Is it gameplay? Is it non-gameplay? Are you worried about missing out on some non-gameplay stuff? Like, that's always the weirdest thing to me. Like, it's not gameplay. Like, it's superfluous aesthetic. You can deal with playing the game exactly the same without it. Without the playmat, without the metal coins, without the different colored dice, without the slightly upgraded components. Number 2, price. Price. Well, it's going to cost me more on the secondary market. It's going to cost me more at retail. It's going to cost me more to get both of these things later. It's just saving. I'm getting a free expansion. The price, the savings is there. If I buy $30 more, I will get free shipping. The price I will save if I pre-order from X, Y, or Z online retailer distributor store, I get an extra 3% off. Is it that much? That much? Every time someone says that to me, right? I'm saving on these deals. Are you really saving? If you're spending $30 or $40 more to get to the free shipping with another game, as opposed to the $5.99 that the flat rate shipping is, are you really saving money? No. Are you getting an expansion thrown in that you're never going to play in the first place? And it's going to cost you $25 extra more when it would be a total of, $40 extra more if you got it at retail, but you're never going to play it. So if you would have just gotten the base game, it would have cost you less to begin with in the first place. I mean, if you're trying to flip it, If you're buying for either of these FOMO reasons because you're trying to flip it, because all you are concerned about is value, we can talk value all day long. I can change how I present my Kickstarters to you on my daily, weekly roundup. My daily, weekly roundup, that was a good one. On my weekly roundup, and I can say, is this a good value or not? Spoilers, some are, a lot aren't. But that leads me into point 3, why else we buy them. FOMO of missing out. Missing out. Missing out. That's because we are looking at the hotness. We are looking over our shoulders at our neighbors going, if they get it, am I going to get it? I have that as a person on YouTube putting board game videos out. You know? All of these big channels are either getting games sent to them from these retail side of things, from the Kickstarter side of things. I just learned last week that content creators get all-in packages sent to them. I'm like, WTF? I didn't even know that was a thing. But if I don't back it, no one's going to send it to me, and then I'm going to be behind on the hotness. And if I can't, I don't want to, bank on somebody sending it to me because I don't feel entitled to this stuff. I still feel awkward even asking from that side of things. And so I'm going to be behind, and then I'm not going to get as many views, and then I'm not going to get as much hotness, and then people are going to subscribe to me, and people are going to, who cares? You know what? There's plenty of games to talk about out there. Whether it's on my side or your side of things. You got plenty of games in your collection already that aren't played, right? I do. Got plenty behind me that aren't played fully. So, keeping up with the Joneses, the grass is always greener, is not a good reason to do so, because you're always going to have another project that you're going to feel like you need to have to keep up with other people. And keeping up with other people is also a very good way to end up with a lot of games that you just don't like in the first place. And some you'll be able to flip, but some you won't be able to. Sorry, that's the truth of it. Sorry, not sorry. Point 4, I've seen this one being abused lately on crowdfunding all over the place too. Got into a nice discussion about it on one of my blog posts as well. The game's not going to be available at retail. Really? Really? How many times is that true? There are very few small indie games, especially the foreign publisher ones, that aren't available at retail. The rest, anything that's going to hit 6 figures or higher, I'm pretty sure it's going to be available. Pretty sure it's going to be available. Now, the disclaimer that they're putting on there lately, because wording freaking matters, folks. You read the words that are there. You don't read into them, you read the words that are there. Not available at retail stores. Okay, not available at retail stores. You know what that doesn't say? It doesn't say that we aren't going to sell it. It doesn't say it's not going to be available at retail. And so what it doesn't say is more important than what it does say. Because then you see, and I've seen some big companies start to do this, well, it'll probably be available our web shop. Because all of these places are getting web shops now. They're cutting out some of the stores with some of these, distributions, for better or for worse. I mean, I understand why they're doing it, but that's the reason they're throwing those phrases up on the crowdfunding campaigns in the first place. To drive the FOMO. Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be able to get it at retail. I'm not gonna buy it at retail. Because that's the counter argument, right? Is a lot of people nowadays are going, well, I'm just gonna pick it up at retail for cheaper. Why should I get it now? I'm just gonna pick it up at retail. And then they go, not at retail. Oh my gosh. No. Nope. Even Seventh Continent, where they said absolutely not, they redid it. And then after the second campaign, they put out a smaller scale retail version. So if it's good, it will show up eventually in some way, shape, or form. Yes, you may pay a little bit more, but then by then you're going to know what you're getting yourself into and whether or not it's right for you as well. There you go. Last but not least is one tying in with point number 3 of looking over your shoulder, trying to keep up with the Joneses. This is just getting it earlier. And this goes, again, on my side of things very heavily. A day late, dollar short. essentially. People are posting about the Descent Legends of the Dark. People got advanced preview copies. If I don't buy it at retail and get it earlier than everybody else, I'm going to be behind the Joneses, and I'm not going to get any of the clicks. They're playing it down the street 3 months before me. I'm going to be behind. Because that's the other thing that you see on a lot of campaign pages, or that's why you see people pre-ordering it at retail. I got to get it right away. Got to get it right away because it's going to spoil if we don't buy it pre-ordered without knowing anything about it. And then selling it 2 weeks later because it turns out that I didn't actually like it at all, but I didn't realize that because there wasn't a whole lot of information out on the retail side of things in the first place. Whoops. But I had to have it soon. Had to have it right away. So, yeah. Which are you susceptible to? Which ones affect you the most? For me personally, it's always been the Kickstarter exclusives. Always been the Kickstarter exclusives. It's hard to get me to back something without exclusives. It is. It just is. I mean, because that's how I look at value a lot of the times. But I know everybody looks at it differently. Those are the 5 FOMOs that you got to be aware of. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Stay classy. Have a great day. See you around.